scrutinize the DD Spellslinger setup for the Daughter of the OSHABI specialization, showcasing its strengths and synergies. Daughter of the OSHABI is a Ranger's Ascendancy class viable only during the Legacy of Freesia event. The passives that are of great interest to us are Roots of the Grove and Spellslinging. Roots of the Grove have an effect similar to the already existing combo of Vinespike Cordial and Inextricable Fate. After hitting an enemy a few times, they will be eligible for being poisoned with any damage type. They have to be affected by at least 5 Grasping Vines which you inflict on hit. It's a stackable debuff that inherently only reduces movement speed. To play such a build comfortably, you need to have a high hit rate. Kinetic Blast will activate Detonate Dead. You won't cast it yourself since it's a huge waste of time. Instead, link it to Spellslinger and trigger it on hit. Spellslinging passive is a major upgrade as it reduces mana reservation of spellslinging skills and increases their cooldown recovery rate by 50% both. Now you can detonate corpses more than 3 times a second. To have dead bodies always on hand, you'll have to use Desecrate, not by self-casting but with another spellslinging setup, and since spellslinging comes at a discount, we'll use yet another such setup to cast various curses. Kinetic Blast has a quite high hit rate on its own, even with low attack speed. The other ability that hits is your actual main damaging skill. Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction. It deals fire damage, so it's never used in poison builds, but since we can poison with fire damage, it makes for one of the best candidates. Defensive-wise is a very simple build with high maximum life, spell suppression, and some evasion rating. Life can be recovered via leech, or better yet, on hit. Enfeeble and blind effect from Asenath's gloves will increase your survival rate big time. Clear speed is not exceptional, but quite good. Asenath's gloves can improve it. Boss damage is also not particularly high, but it can easily slay pinnacle bosses given enough time, which you do have. The build is sturdy. It's a cheap build, there are no expensive items required, only the wand or jewels may be quite pricey. We're expecting you to equip Asenath's Gentle Touch and Anathema, since they allow you to constantly apply 4 curses on an enemy, boosting your offensive and defensive capabilities. If you don't have these gloves, you'll have to give up Punishment or Enfeeble. Leper's Arms is another great item that we cannot recommend enough. All the other gear pieces are rare, and there are not that many unique substitutes to them. Leper's Arm Shield has maximum life, lots of evasion, ES, and it increases the duration of ailments on enemies by 40%, including poison. It's cheap and common. Asenath's Gentle Touch is excellent in any poison build. Temporal Chains will boost your damage, and the explosions will enhance your clear speed. There's also maximum life and intelligence, both will be needed. The Embalmer, increased poison duration, increases poison damage directly. Here you can socket your Kinetic Blast setup and benefit from added and more chaos damage. This way, and with a wand plentiful with added damage, your Kinetic Blast will be quite strong on its own. It's comparable to Asenath's Gentle Touch. Anathema Ring, after allocating the Infused, which you can do with just 1 point, you'll be able to inflict 4 curses applied with Spellslinger. Watcher's Eye, your auras are Grace and Precision. Precision has increased attack speed, while Grace has several defensive options to choose from. Life on hit while being under the effect of Vitality is so good that you may put on level 1 Vitality because of it. The Light of Meaning may boost your chaos damage, socket it near Fervor, notable. On rares, look for maximum life, resistances, and maybe spell suppression chance if you plan to cap it. Mana reservation efficiency should not be needed at all, but it or maximum mana will be helpful if you wish to level up precision all the way up. To trigger spell more often, you may want to seek cooldown recovery rate, found on belt and boots. With Spellslinger level 21 and Spellslinging allocated, you'll need 13% additional cooldown recovery rate to reach the next breakpoint. You're dealing poison damage, which is chaos damage over time. Wand and jewels will increase these stats. Increases to the gem level of Detonate Dead are not very important since the damage scales with corpses maximum life more than anything. Helmet. Prioritize maximum life, resistances, and maybe spell suppression, accuracy, or intelligence, since they can be found here too. For the Eldritch mods, get the increased effect of one of your curses and increased duration of ailments on enemies or physical to elemental damage shift. Body armor. Here aim for high maximum life, Resistances, spell suppression, and base defenses like Energy Shield, it'll be used as mana. For the Eldritch mods, get physical to elemental damage shift and increased effect of your curses. Seek a wand with high attack speed and a lot of added local damage. Any damage will do since all damage can poison. Chaos damage and DOT multiplier are two great additions. On your boots you will find maximum life, movement speed, and cooldown recovery rate. It's a Shaper Crusader suffix but can be also found as Eater's Implicit. For the Exarch Implicit you may want action speed. The belt, prioritize maximum life, cooldown recovery rate. This one can be crafted after unveiling, and resistances of all kinds. The amulet will be a source of DOT multiplier, maximum life, and resistances. Accuracy and attributes will be fine. Reduced mana cost can be crafted. Ring, prioritize maximum life and resistances. Then you can keep an eye out for attributes, accuracy, or added damage to attack, damage of any type. There are several modifiers present on rare jewels that will boost your poison damage, such as poison duration, damage over time, damage with poison, and chaos damage over time multiplier. Top it off with increased maximum life. Chaos damage, large cluster jewels can roll good notables like Wicked Paul or Unholy Grace. We recommend one or two of these. Have one life flask with instant life recovery ready to use. We also recommend silver, quicksilver, jade, and either sulfur or quartz flasks. Their suffixes shall increase your evasion, movement speed, reduce the effect of shock or curses on you, and maybe even increase the critical strike chance to proc elemental overload more reliably. The first Spellslinger triggers Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction on hit, which is your main damaging ability. Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction explodes a corpse which poisons the enemy, is generally a better version of Detonate Dead. If there are many corpses to detonate, and if the cast time and mana cost are of no consequence, which is the case here, link it with Unbound Ailments, Cruelty, Energy Leech, and Elemental Focus support gems. Kinetic Blast is the attack that slings all the other spells. You don't need a lot of attack speed here since spells triggered this way are bound by their cooldown, and the KB hits many times per attack, especially with 4 wisps from Illuminating Wisps. Link it with Sacred Wisps, Withering Touch, and Faster Attacks support gems. Faster attacks can be replaced with greater multiple projectiles if your trigger rate is okay without it. Another Spellslinger is in your Curse setup. You can afford it since Spellslinging reduces Spellslinger reservation by 50%. Despair reduces Chaos resistance, so that the enemy takes more damage from poison. Enemies cursed with Enfeeble deal less damage and have reduced accuracy rating. Punishment. Enemies are debilitated and take greatly increased damage while on low life. These have to be linked together. The third Spellslinger will trigger Desecrate. It creates corpses to be later exploded with Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction. Link it up with Spell Cascade to create more corpses per trigger. Shield Charge, you can move faster while charging, link it with faster attacks. Plaguebearer creates a damaging area around your character from the poison it has stored. Grace is implemented for more and additional evasion rating. Precision adds and increases accuracy rating to hit enemies with attacks. Frostblink, use it to instantly teleport if the situation requires it. Temporal Chains is an obligatory curse. It usually comes from Asenath's gloves, so if you don't have them, put it in your Spellslinger setup instead of Punishment or Enfeeble. Help Erimir to gain an additional passive skill point. Other offers are not really that helpful. For the Major God, we recommend Brine King. Brine King makes you immune to freeze and reduces the effect of chill on you. A good minor god would be Ristlather. This one is a big help in prolonged boss fights, and if you rely on life flasks for life recovery, which you kind of do. The shape of the skill tree is defined by the necessity of getting Elemental Overload and Eldritch Battery, which are all the way on top. If you wish, you may also grab Mind over Matter to cushion some incoming damage, but only if your ES recovery is good, and Ghost Dance to recover ES on hit. The passives that you're looking for are Maximum Life, Damage over time, Poison damage, you don't need any poison chance, chaos damage, a wee bit of accuracy rating, mana reservation efficiency, and spell suppression chance. The notables to be mindful of are Thrill of Battle with its mastery for mana reservation efficiency, and Undertaker since it's all about corpses. Allocate the Poison Mastery to disable critical strikes of poisoned enemies. Increased effective cruelty and maybe 10% instant leech with conditional 15% spell suppression chance. And that's it for this Spell Slinging Corpse Detonator. Be mindful, it's a limited time build and it won't be there for long. Like, subscribe and stay tuned for more.